Welcome to World Vision News. In a world bracing for uncertainty and economic strain, a bold new chapter unfolded as the United States and the European Union signed a historic trade agreement. After months of tense negotiations, shifting deadlines, and geopolitical tremors, the two economic giants found common ground not through power plays or protectionism, but through dialogue and vision. The agreement, forged in the corridors of diplomacy and announced to the world with firm handshakes and cautious optimism, signaled more than just the exchange of goods. It marked the revival of trust. It had begun quietly, with whispers in Washington and murmurs in Brussels. Inflation was rising. Supply chains were cracking. Industries on both sides of the Atlantic were sounding alarms. American farmers feared losing European markets. European automakers faced stifling U.S. tariffs. The world watched as two allies seemed poised to clash. But behind closed doors, something remarkable was taking shape. Compromise. At the heart of the deal was a simple number 15, a mutual tariff of 15%, would replace the looming threat of 30% levies that had cast a long shadow over international trade. But it wasn't the percentage that mattered, it was the principle: fairness, reciprocity, stability. Both parties agreed to apply the rate across key sectors: automobiles, steel, agriculture, and tech, ensuring no one gained unfair advantage. It was a handshake between equals. When the deal was signed, applause echoed in government halls, but the real reaction was heard on factory floors and in shipping yards. In Detroit, workers who had feared layoffs saw hope. In Germany, suppliers saw continuity. In French vineyards and Iowa cornfields, exporters took a breath. Markets responded within hours. The Dow Jones rose. Inside the agreement were layers of foresight. New clauses addressed digital regulation, cross-border privacy standards, and even artificial intelligence frameworks. No longer was trade only about shipping goods, it was about sharing the future. In an unprecedented move, the deal also embedded sustainability requirements. Carbon-heavy imports would face higher duties. Clean energy cooperation was incentivized. Timber, seafood, and mining operations would be subject to joint environmental inspections. Trade, at last, was being bound to responsibility. As the sun set over Brussels and rose over Washington, the ink dried on a document that might just define the next decade. Not because of what it contains, but because of what it means. The world's two biggest democracies chose cooperation over conflict. They didn't just trade goods. They traded certainty for chaos, resilience for risk. And somewhere, across two continents, millions of people looked up from their morning news feeds, nodded quietly, and whispered the same word: